Mm. Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here. Joe Boo, well, he's down in the man cave there sleeping. You know his ass is lazy. But as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Now, you guys know football is truly ingrained in my DNA. I wake up in the morning thinking about football. I go to the bed thinking about football. In between, I think about football. And it's football weekend. Unfortunately, there's not enough of these. Here it is, week five already. I mean, week five. You know how long it took to get to the season? I'm going to make sure I enjoy each and every one of these weeks. Now, with our Cowboys taking on the Texans tomorrow night, I got the guys coming down to watch the game and stuff, so I got to make sure I have plenty for the troops. And here it is. Not one, not two, but three pulled pork shoulders that we're going to do. And see, funny thing about pulled pork is when you look at a pork shoulder, it's not exactly the prettiest piece of meat. It's really kind of gnarly. In fact, a lot of you have never really gotten in the kitchen much. If you actually saw what stuff looked like being prepped, you might not like it so much. You might say, ooh, that's nasty. But there's a lot of different ways that you can cook and things. So the way I do it may be totally different than the way you do it. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's wrong. Works for me. So if you don't like my style, well, that's cool. Develop your own, because that's the great thing about cooking is you can try anything you want and you can come up with your own style. And that's kind of the same thing when you think about our offense. Our offense has been kind of ugly for most of the season. And they need to do some more cooking to figure out the right recipe. What looks good and tastes good on it. What are the right ingredients? And I think we saw a little dose of that last week. I think part of the problem, and you'll find out when you cook too, is when you use too many ingredients, you can't develop a taste. You're tasting too many things. Sometimes the simplest recipes are the best ones. And I think that's part of the problem with the Cowboys offense. We've got so many wide receivers that you're not getting the right mixture of guys. There's too much of this and too much of that. And I think what they really need to do is get back to basics. Settle on really three receivers for the most part. Three guys that are going to be there regularly when you're in three receiver sets. You know, think about Cole Beasley out there. Look at Michael Gallup. He's going to take time to develop. And figure out which of these guys are there so they're on the field with Dak each week so they can start getting some cohesiveness. Because when you think about, say, Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman, because they played together, they knew each other. They could give each other just a slight glance, and they're communicating something that it's not written on the play, it's not drawn up, but they see something, and they can make another connection. We don't have that yet. And part of the hope for me is when I look at so many new pieces on this offense, that there's nobody who's used to playing with anybody. You lost an all-world tight end in Jason Witten. You lost a Des Bryant, vocal leader, but a leader. Yeah, Des had his bad points, but he also had good points too. He motivated people. He got in your face. And I know, a lot of you are going, what the hell are you doing with mustard on here? Well, this is just the way I do things. This is my recipe, my offense. It's a little different than maybe some other people do. I put the mustard on, you don't taste it in the end. But what it does is it kind of gets into those muscle fibers just a little bit more. At least I believe it does. But it helps that rub stick to it a little bit more. So do it your own way. Figure out what works for you. But He was a vocal guy and a guy who gave everything on the field. You want that kind of attitude with all your players that will give literally everything they have and show some emotion to a point. So you got a new group of wide receivers. You have an offensive line that's in flux because you lose the best center in football. And you have a journeyman who has to take over, who is stepping up. So what we need to do this week, seems like we finally realized, got to get back to basics. What kind of team is this? Well, this is a team that's predicated on the run and having a great running back in Zeke Elliott. A guy who now is the second fastest to 3,000 yards with Jim Brown. That's pretty damn good. Also, I know you guys will laugh when I say this, but believe it or not, Dak Prescott has one of the best ratings when he goes downfield. Problem is, he doesn't go downfield a lot. And that's partially because of his DNA. He does not want to turn the football over. Sometimes, though, you just got to let it rip. You've got to at least have the threat there, whether or not the guys are open. And keep in mind, he's only played 2.25 seasons. He's going to get better. The team's going to get better. If there's one thing, or actually two things, I'd like to see better on this team that will bode well for the rest of the season. Boy, doesn't that look pretty? I'll start smoking these tonight after I get back. I got to drive down to Waynesboro and do some work, so I got about 300 miles of driving to do. But you want to let these things go through, preferably overnight. I was just too tired to do them last night. You want to let these things, let that flavor infuse in it. Let it marinate. So when I come back tonight, what you'll see is the pan will be full of a lot of juice that actually pulled out of it, that coagulated with it. Sometimes cooking ain't pretty. Sometimes it's a lot of work. But in the end, it's worth it. But what our team needs to be able to do better is red zones. I'm happy we got a good kicker. And right now, the Cowboys are looking like geniuses. Having Mueller. And I know I mispronounced his name. And I know I have a few things that drive people crazy. One, I'll misspell stuff, or it won't be grammatically correct. Understand, I'm a bit dyslexic. I grew up dyslexic. Teacher said I was just not working hard enough, but my B's were D's, my C's looked like E's, my 3's were 5's, and sometimes that stuff kind of sets through. So occasionally you'll see me write things backwards because in my mind, it looks fine. It looks right. In reality, the connection between the eyeballs and the brain isn't exactly quite there. So forgive me when you see mistakes like that. And the other one is me always starting the show drinking coffee. I'm a creature of habit. And if I change up, it just doesn't work for me. So I know those things you guys may not like, but you got to take the good with the bad. In order for me to do it, got to have my coffee. But we need to get into the end zone more. When we get down there, we have got to score touchdowns. We got lucky, and I was scared to death because I thought for sure that when you start trading field goals, more times than not, it comes back to bite you in the ass. And I don't want to lose a game because we couldn't get to the end zone. So we got to work on getting into the end zone. And I think a great way they can start doing that is start to use Rico gathers. Part of the problem I think with Rico is they only put Rico in when they know they're going to throw it to Rico. Which also means that because he's only in there, every defensive coordinator is saying, look guys, if Rico comes in the game, the ball's going to Rico. Cover Rico. And because Rico is not getting in the game very often, he's not getting the cohesiveness. And also, too, I remember back in my days, until I got that first hit, I was nervous and scared S-less. What they need to do is, he needs to get out there and have a hit before you try and pass the ball to him. Let him play in a couple of running downs. Get him blocking. Just get him in there. Get him used to the speed of the game. You can't just put him in there one play, throw the ball to him, and think that that's going to be the be-all, end-all for him. He's got to get out there more than that to become a weapon. And that's where coaching comes in. Put a little extra on these. Use up all of this. Oh, boy. Can't wait for tomorrow. And I think he could end up being a good weapon with his size and ability. But again, you've got too many guys out there that you don't know exactly how they play and where they're going to play. And hopefully, as the season goes on, they'll get better and better. Boy. All right, so I got that together. Wrap these up. Put these away. Wrap these up, put these away. And then tonight, start smoking for about 18 hours. So that's my hopes for the offense. The defense, quite frankly, Jeff Heath's got to take better angles. We got to have better play from the safeties. We're getting good pressure and stuff. DeMarcus Lawrence, of course, 5.5 sacks. But I need those other guys to stack up to start getting some more. I need more than just Jalen Smith having 2 sacks. I need to see a bunch of these guys having multiples. And more than anything else, it's crazy that our Cowboys are the only team in the NFL without an interception. Here already in week 5, we don't have a single pick. We need to get some turnovers to really give our offense a short field, to get some momentum and things like that. If we can do that, guys, we can start blowing some people out. Quite frankly, it's the truth. I know you think I'm crazy. A lot of you think the Cowboys suck. I believe in this team. And when the dust all settles, I believe our Cowboys will be there when it comes playoffs. So anyway, guys, hope you guys have a great Saturday. I'm going to wrap these up. Then I got to drive down the country and get this apartment together for these people to get ready to move in. So I'll see you down in Waynesboro. I'm Mark Holmes, and we going to be eating good tomorrow. I'll see you soon.